looking to add a little love to your next card project? I've designed a free love SVG that's yours to download today. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to take this one SVG and create two completely different cards, one bold and dramatic, one soft and sweet. Whether you're crafting for Valentine's Day, an anniversary, or just because, these ideas will inspire you to get creative with your cutting machine. Stick around, grab your free SVG, and let's make some beautiful cards together. Hey everyone, it's Lean from ColoradoLean.com. Welcome back to the craft room. Before we jump into Cricut Design Space, let's talk about a few of the papers we're going to be using today. The card bases, as well as the white pieces from the SVG, will be cut from Recollections 110-pound card in white. I will be using a piece of this textured cardstock from Recollections. This is the Wedding Neutrals 6x6 paper pad, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later. I have a scrap piece of black 110-pound card. This came from the Coffee and Cream set. I have some light gray cardstock. This is also Recollections. I believe this came from the Neutrals pack, but I will look that up before we get there. And of course, the white cardstock. And then I'm going to be using some Firestone Red mirror cardstock. This is from Craft Perfect and Tonic Studios. I have had this in my collection for years, and today we're finally going to really use it in a card. All right, let's jump into Cricut Design Space and get our Love SVG cut. All right, so we are in Cricut Design Space, and I've already uploaded my file. So let's go ahead and open Uploaded Images. We will choose our love heart and add it to the canvas. All right, so for our first card, I am going to need a card mat. So let's go ahead and choose Edit, unlock the aspect ratio, and this mat will be 5 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches tall. And then we'll go ahead and lock that aspect ratio back up. I do want to come over and change the color. So let's go ahead and duplicate our SVG. And we will arrange that to the front. And I want this to be the statement piece of the card. So with the aspect ratio locked, I am going to change this to 3 3/4 inches wide. Now, what I want to do is I want to add the word you. So our card will say, love you. So we'll type that in. I will highlight the entire thing, and then I will come over to our font. And on my system, I have the font Bridget. So I'm going to choose that. And then let's shrink this down a little bit more. And I want to increase the size of this word. So I'm just going to drag it out to about what I think it would look nice as. So what we need to do now with the word you is we need to come to Edit. And we need to change this from a basic cut to the pen. And today I am going to be using my 1.0 millimeter marker in black. And then I will apply that. And then I'm going to open my layers panel. And I am also going to choose my my card mat. And then I'm going to attach that together. And then we will arrange this to the back and we will have our love back. So this is basically our first card. And our second card is going to be even easier than that. So we will just take this love and I'm going to edit this one down to 3 inches wide. So now that my second SVG is the correct size, I want to do one other thing. I'm going to come into the layers panel and I am going to choose just the matte layer. In edit, I'm going to come over to the color and I'm just going to change the color so that it will print on a separate mat. So now we're going to click Make It. I will cut these on 12 by 12 mats. And as you can see, they are all separate. I will make a few adjustments here and there to conserve on my paper. All right, and then we will click Next. Select our accessory, which is the Cricut Explore Air 2. And I am going to be using 110-pound cardstock. So I am going to choose heavy cardstock. And I will set that at the default pressure, and that will be fine. Now, when I get to my white mat, I will also choose a 110-pound card. But you will notice down here that it says to load the black pen in clamp A. So I will do that first, and then it will cut everything out. So I'm going to go ahead and get my mats ready, get this cut, and I will be back with you at the craft desk shortly. Okay, we have everything cut for our first card. And let's go ahead and glue our SVG together first. One thing I do want to do is, I don't know why it does this, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but when things cut out on the Cricut, there's always a little ledge on the front. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and carefully go over all of the edges to kind of flatten that out a little bit. Again, I'm not sure why it does that, but... And today I am using my Spellbinders reverse tweezers. This is from the Susan Gardens Ultimate Flower Shaping Kit. And I'm just going to use this to help me get everything glued down and lined up. Now I am using art glitter glue, and it doesn't give you a whole lot of wiggle room, but it does give you a few moments to get everything lined up straight. And then we will get this put on the black mat. So we'll get that on there. And then we will set that aside to dry. Okay, so while our die cut is drying, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this card. This, like I said before, is the Firestone Red mirror card from Craft Perfect and Tonic Studio. Not only is it mirror, but it is also iridescent, and it is just absolutely stunning. I don't know how this is coming across on screen, but it is very pretty. I will try and get some good pictures of this, but you know, mirror cardstock and iridescent, really hard to photograph. So let's go ahead and cut this down to size. I have my little note here. This mat needs to be 5 1/4 inches wide, or 5 1/4 inches tall by 4 inches wide. And it is pretty close already. So we will trim this down to 4 inches. And square it up to 5 1/4. And now let's talk about our card front. Again, this has that funky lip on it, and today it's bothering me. So I will smooth that out with my bone folder. So you will see that with the pen feature, I did not get the letter or all the letters filled in completely. That is an issue you have, and you really need to pick your font appropriately. I don't know. I could try and go in and fill this in, but I'm not going to do that because it will not be filled in correctly. So I do want to add a few score lines on here. And these score lines, I think, will just add, you know, a little bit of extra interest to the card. And let's see where I want to score this. I think I'm going to score this at 1 3/4, or no, pardon me, 1 3/8. I think that will give me a score line just right above the word U. So we'll turn this around. 1 3/8. And then I might go another line 1/8 of an inch above that. So I'm scoring this at 1 3/8 and 1 1/2. And then that will give me a nice little double score. It does look like it does look like the rollers kind of marked up my word a little bit. So let me try one thing with that. I am just bringing in one of these white erasers, and I'm just going to try and erase that. Yeah, that came off really nice. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then I will carefully do that on the top as well. So there is that. Now, with my love sentiment, I'm going to put that just right above that first score line. And let's see, I think I'm going to use a little bit of Scor-tape as well as the art glitter glue. Okay, and I'm just going to carefully line this up. I'm going to do my best to get it straight, but we all know that's probably not going to happen. And if it does, it's a major fluke. But you know what? That is something that I have learned to live with. That is just my crafting style. If it's a little bit crooked, then hey, it's from Lean at coloradolean.com. Okay. And that is just really pretty. Okay, so I got some more Scor-tape, and I do have the card front on my mat. So let's go ahead and put this on our card. And there is our first card of the day. Isn't that stunning? I really love that red iridescent mirror cardstock. Okay, so with our second card, let's go ahead and begin by gluing our love die cut together, or our SVG, however you want to say that. Actually, I'm not sure how you're supposed to say it. If you cut something out with the Cricut, I mean, it is still technically a die cut, but it started off with an SVG file. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? What do you guys call that? Or what do you call this? A die cut? Do you still call it an SVG? And how do you classify this? Okay, so I have the heart on there. And then let's set this off to the side to dry. Okay, for our cardstock on the second card, the gray is from the Architecture paper pack. It has, I think, 5 different shades of gray in there. Very pretty. What I really want to talk about, though, is the Wedding Neutrals Recollection 6x6 paper pad. I did pick this up used at my local Goodwill store. It has a very pretty linen texture to it. And of course, it doesn't have all of the paper in it. I looked this up on the Michaels website and I cannot find this. What I did find that looks to be comparable color-wise, at least according to my screen color settings, is the Roses paper pack. It is 8.5 by 11. It is not textured, but it appears to have the same shades of color in them. So if you like the colors in here, you can pick that up. The Roses paper pack from Michaels, 65 pounds. It may also come in 110. I noticed they're starting to really bring in a lot more of the 110 pound in the different colors. So that's pretty cool. This has shades of pink. It has shades of kind of a peachy pink. This color almost looks purple to me. It's kind of odd in there. And then it goes to yellow. So yeah, you know, it is what it is. It's pretty. I love the texture on it. And I am going to be using this pretty bright pink today. So let's get out our trusty Tim Holtz and Tonic Studios 8.5 inch Guillotine paper trimmer. I cannot craft without this thing. And let's go ahead and cut this down to size. So our card base is going to be a typical A2 card, 4.25 by 5.5. And our pink layer is going to be 5 inches tall by 3.75 inches wide. And then our gray mat is going to be 5.25 inches. Well, let's cut this to 4 inches. So we'll cut it at 4 and then down to 5.25. So we have our card base, and then we will have our gray card mat, and then our pink card on top. All right, and our card base is ready to go. So let's set that off to the side for a moment. And I wanted something a little more than just the love on there. So I looked online and I found this fun little quote by Charles Schultz. All you need is love, but a little chocolate now and then doesn't hurt. So I thought that I would kind of change things up a little bit in my cards. I typically don't put anything inside the card until I'm ready to send it. That way, you know, I can put anything I want in there, or if I give that particular card to someone else, then they can put whatever they like inside. But this was way too cute to pass up. So I did print this on my computer with Word. I will have the font listed down below in the description. So I am going to trim off first just at or inside of the box, and then I will square things up once everything's cut a little bit closer. Okay, so I cut an inside matte layer at, and I'm getting confused with my measurements. The gray card is cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then this is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. And then all you need is, I'm going to trim down, and you know, this gets a little tricky. It doesn't have to be perfect. So what I kind of like to do is start off, and I will get pictures of this because I know you can't really see it. But on the cutter here, this plastic piece, I like to line up the text just right at the edge of that. And then that is a good starting spot for trimming everything down. And of course, the second one is always the hardest. So we're just going to kind of fly by the seat of our pants here. Hope we don't cut that Y off. All right, I am going to change to my 6 1/4 inch Guillotine trimmer, also from Tim Holtz. I should be able to get this a little bit closer. And again, it's, you know, always kind of tricky to get things straight and lined up. But I do want this a little bit closer on both sides. Okay, that might have been a little close, but 'tis what it is. So I will trim this down just a skosh. And let's just make this 2 1/2 inches long. All right, and then I will get a little piece of gray card. This is just a little over 1/2 inch wide. So I will cut this to about 3/4. And then just trim it down a little bit more to 2 3/4. Okay, that looks a little big for me. If you can see that. So I'm just going to make a couple little extra trims just to kind of shrink this down a little bit. Okay, I like that better. I might take off one more tiny little sliver here on the end. All right, that is ready to go. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tape my inside and get that ready, and we'll be right back together. All right, so let's go ahead and get our card front set up. So I think what I want to do is I want to put love in the middle. And then all you need is just above that. Yeah, I think we're do it just like that. So I already have Scor-tape on the back, and I'm just going to take the paper off, and then I'm going to put a little bit of art glitter glue on there because of the little bit of texture that is on the card front. And I'm just going to eyeball it for this part. All right, and there it is. Now, I was also thinking about adding a little bit of sequins to this. I have some Trinity Stamps Rock Candy Confetti that I thought might be kind of nice to add on there for a change. If you know anything about me, you know I don't do a whole lot of little fiddly bits like this. But let's give it a try and see what it looks like. So I have my Studio Katia embellishment wand. And I'm just going to place a few of these on here to see what it might look like. Yeah, I think I like that. And there is our finished card. I think that just looks adorable. All right, I'm going to clean up this mess and I'll get right back with you. And there you have it. 2 stunning cards featuring the same love SVG, each with its own unique flair. The first card with its bold red mirror card and that striking red mirror heart at the center of love is perfect for making a dramatic statement. The second card, in soft gray and pink, combines elegance with sweetness, especially with the Charles Schulz verse. And of course, this same red mirror heart ties it all together. I hope this inspires you to experiment with different styles using this versatile design. Don't forget to grab your free Love SVG in the link below and let me know in the comments which card you'd love to try. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can join me for more crafting adventures. Until then, have a great week and happy crafting. Bye.